Bo Bounds, welcome back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, man. I hope you're doing well.
Ron, how are you, buddy? I'm doing great.
We're good over here. We've just got snow and freezing rain and all these different things that are kind of affecting our celebration. But other than that, we're okay. We're in a panic mode over here right now.
Man, what a game! What a game last week! Holy moly, incredible!
I'm just curious. Let's go back to that game just for a minute. Did you think Alabama was going to lose at a halftime? Did you think they were beat?
No.
Wow.
I didn't think that. I mean, I didn't think that things looked good, obviously, at 13-0. But no, I've been watching all this too long. I wasn't going to count Bama out. I didn't think that they were beating Starkville, and they came back and won. I mean, I thought they could lose for sure, and I said all year I thought they could lose, and they lost to Auburn. So that was a really good team. Great, not even close, but a super team that did what they needed to do once they got healthy and won the championship. And I was impressed with Coach Saban, and I guess the assistant coaches. I don't know who all he got feedback from, but to make the change to Tua and to call some of the plays that they called, which were aggressive. Bama doesn't usually have to be aggressive, and they can kind of play not to make mistakes and wait until you make a mistake because they have better players. I don't believe that Bama always outcoaches people. I think that's far from the deal. But man, I thought that Saban really showed out and played to win. You could play. I would think you could play conservative. You have 5 titles in your in the bookcase, so to speak, at home and at the football facility for Coach Saban, and yet he went and grabbed that win. And then I thought Jim Chaney, offensive coordinator from Georgia, which didn't surprise me because he's going to be he'll be the reason that Kirby will not win a national championship if Kirby sticks with him for any long period of time. But I thought Chaney going away from what they were doing well, Ron, wildcat snaps and all that garbage, and going away from Sonny Michel didn't make any sense to me. I think Bama still could have lost even with Tua if Chaney doesn't go away from actually, snapping the ball to the quarterback that was playing well instead of wildcatting it and going away from Sonny Michel.
Bo, let me ask you from a guy that covers this league, when you look at Jalen Hurts and you look at Tua Tagovailoa, how do you see it? Because I know what we see it here as far as an inside, Tuscaloosa conversation. How is the rest of the conference looking at Tua Tagovailoa and, good Lord, they got a quarterback now that can throw it down the field. I mean, what's the rest of maybe outside of this state is saying about Tua Tagovailoa?
Well, I think, look, Jalen Hurts is a good college QB. Now, if you drop Jalen Hurts at Mississippi State or Ole Miss or Arkansas or South Carolina, which all have, pretty equal, similar talent, it's a different deal, Ron. I mean, Nick Fitzgerald is asked to do a lot more than Jalen Hurts on a Saturday. And so are several other players, Jake Bentley, and the list goes on and on. And by the way, that's not a shot at Jalen Hurts. Everything I've heard, he's a great kid and all that. And he does bring some things to the table as far as intangibles and his physicality and his legs and so on. But you called it on my show 6-9 months ago, I guess 8, 9, 10 months ago, several times, that the young man's just not an accurate passer and was not progressing at that. Well, I didn't have to watch him much this year to know that was the case. I mean, that's why Mississippi State was in the game. I mean, Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator, was not dumb. He felt like, he could call this defense because Jalen Hurts was not going to ding you. Now, late in the game when you need to make one play, I mean, he made a throw, but still, I mean, you've got Bama 4- and 5-star receivers and offensive linemen. Tua is a different deal, man. And I still think that at times he's going to throw it up and the other team's going to catch it. But he throws a great ball. He seems to be fearless, and he brings something to the table that, man, Ron, Bama hasn't had. I know that Bama, every school worships their national championship QBs. I mean, good grief. Jay Barker was 4-13 for 11 yards in the national championship game. I mean, but McElroy and McCarron weren't even good college quarterbacks, much less great. But everything around them and the personnel and so on, and Jake Coker was a nice player, but he'd gone 3-9 at Mississippi State because you have to make plays there. You don't have that kind of personnel, so it's going to be fascinating to watch Tua, and we'll see where Jalen Hurts transfers.
You really think he'll transfer?
I would think that he has really got to strongly consider. Your shelf life is so short, Ron. I mean, he's not an NFL player, and so, man, running out of the tunnel on Saturdays, knowing you're not going to play, and you only have so many games that's where you're eligible to play, has got to be tough for any kid. And then running out of the tunnel on Saturdays, knowing that you are going to play, it is something special. They're in a club that most of us are never in. And I would have to believe that the young man, he's only got 2 more years of eligibility, and wherever that is, I would think he wants to run out of the tunnel knowing that he's going to play. And he's not, as long as Tua is healthy, he's not going to play at Alabama, except against, Mercer or whoever.
Bo, I want to take you back to yesterday. And I'll give you my reaction. I'm sitting with a guy that's a gigantic booster at Alabama, and I'm sitting and I'm having lunch with him, and I get a text down on my phone, and it says, Hugh Freeze just walked in the Alabama football building. And I said, I responded, I said, you've got to be kidding me. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. And the guy goes, no, I'm dead serious with you. I promise you. It just happened. And I said, no way. I didn't believe him. So I started calling and I confirmed it. We talked about it briefly yesterday, but I'm just curious where you were and when you heard that Hugh Freeze was in Tuscaloosa talking to Nick Saban, what's the first thing that goes through your mind?
Not surprised. Here's why. I don't believe for a second that I don't know Nick Saban. I know people that know him or have worked with him or worked around him and worked directly with him. But I think that I don't believe for 1 second that Nick Saban buys into any of Hugh Freeze's stick. Okay? I mean, I didn't either. But I believe that Nick Saban is so comfortable in his own skin and is so driven to find just the slightest edge for his program and his team that if he believes he can hire Hugh Freeze and Hugh can show him a wrinkle on offense or help his offensive personnel or even help his offensive coaches as an offensive analyst or show Nick something that Nick either hasn't really taken a look at or maybe doesn't believe in, but Freeze can say, hey, Coach, this is what we did against y'all, and this is why it worked, and this is why I felt like it would work. Then that's the way that Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are wired. So I think he'll hang all the baggage of Freeze. And look, there's a lot more than what came out. Okay, that was 1%. But I think that he'll if he does hire Hugh Freeze, he will explain to him real quick all the garbage that you've thrown out the last 7 years and all that stuff all that's over. You'll be 100% Alabama football. You won't say a word. You won't talk to the media. And this is what your job will be, and you will know your role or you'll get fired. By the way, do you think he's getting hired, Ron?
Yesterday, I would have said no way, Jose. But I think there's something to this thing. I do. I mean, I believe that there's something. I don't think Nick Saban was just sharing a little Debbie cookie with him yesterday.
Well, here, let me tell you this, Ron. I think it will be an eye-opener for Hugh Freeze. Hugh was running the loosest. That was a roller coaster ride. As talented as he is on offense, as talented as he is talking to mamas and daddies, and as talented as he is at recruiting or manipulating, however you want to look at it, but, I mean, he's not the only one. It's pretty much, 17, 18-year-olds. I think it will be an absolute and total eye-opener the way that Saban runs and operates that program. And so I think it could be good for both, probably more so for Freeze, But I still don't believe Hugh Freeze is Power 5 SEC head coaching material. But when you beat Nick Saban and you do what you did against Ole Miss, even though he lost games he had no business losing, those 2 Alabama games are going to go a long way on his resume. And if Nick gives him a shot at his rehab tour, and when you get to, you know this, Ron, when you get to rehab at Alabama, your rehab, you can expedite your rehab, and your rehab is cleaner, and people will start to talk about how much better you are, just like with Kiffin and Sark. And it's because of your affiliation with Saban, whether it's true or not. Does that make sense, Ron?
Sure it does.
So, I mean, that's what he's doing, Ron. Don't kid yourself. This is rehab. It's coaching rehab. And Nick Coach Saban can take anybody he wants because he's the best college football coach ever.
All right,
and obviously the best one today.
But, Bo, you've just given me a thought, okay? Because it's been pretty clear reported out there that Nick Saban has helped Hugh Freeze through this little obstacle in his life, right? I mean, Hugh Freeze mentioned Nick Saban reaching out to him, and Coach Saban does this. I mean, I truly believe that he reaches out to people that a lot of people give up on, okay? And I do believe that, there might be a relationship there when we talk about lifting him up a little bit. But to go back, is there any chance that Nick Saban is allowing Hugh Freeze not to use him in a way, but in other words, if Coach Saban gives him in this endorsement and the rest of college football goes, hey, Nick Saban's talking to Hugh Freeze, maybe we should consider it. Is that a possibility? Right. Public relation type thing?
No doubt. And Jimmy Sexton could be a big piece of this puzzle.
Huge,
they
gigantic.
share the same agent, and this can be a combination of Saban likes to do this because he can do it, because he can do whatever he wants, and he can bring anybody he wants. So he can bring in the rehab cases of Kiffin, Sark, and Freeze. But absolutely, Ron, this could also be a deal where Jimmy Sexton's like, Coach, I need some help. I need the rehab to start. I need to expedite the rehab because I need to get my man back on the market, and we need to build some market value. And he can bring something to the table for you, Coach, offensively. He can help Tua. He can help your coaches. Because one thing Freeze knows, he knows spacing, and he knows offense, and he knows quarterbacks. I mean, the guy is fantastic at several different things. I do not believe he's capable of running the show. He's just not wired like that. I don't think he's smart enough or sharp enough or anything like that. But I do believe that Sexton could be doing this, and I would think maybe Saban admires his coaching prowess and the fact that he beat Saban twice, because you do have to give him credit. He had the stones to allow his team, coach and motivate his team to believe. And then they went out and took 2 games, from the number 1 program in the country. So that's impressive.
All right. So at the end of the day, do you think he ends up in Tuscaloosa as an analyst, as a on the field position coach? I mean, what's your gut tell you? I mean, I'm just saying, what does your gut tell you?
I don't know if Saban's going to name. I don't think Saban's going to name him OC. Do you? I mean, don't you?
No,
think
I don't. Yeah, I mean. Well, but who knows? I mean, I think something will happen pretty quick. I mean, the next 24 to 48 hours.
I'll tell you this, Ron. Nick is not going to have anybody pull the wool over him, but Freeze is good one-on-one. So maybe Freeze can jump Loxley or whoever, McElway in Canada. I don't know, an NFL guy or two that Nick is saving. So look, bottom line is what Freeze did with Bo Wallace and Chad Kelly and Shea Patterson. I mean, those guys, he put up ridiculous numbers. Now, Bama doesn't have to do all the stuff that Ole Miss did, but again, if Freeze can show Saban some wrinkles and some of this and that, and say, okay, yeah, let's drop a little of that in. Let's put that in. It'll be part of our game plan, part of our offense, part of our portfolio, and we'll drop it in throughout the season. I'll see what I like, what Tua likes, blah, blah, blah. But will he be the QB coach? Will he be the OC? Will he be an offensive analyst? But you just made a great point. Just the discussion with Saban may be enough for Sexton's phone to ring with other schools so that leads to an even better gig than Saban is willing to offer, Ron.
That's true. No, I mean, and so maybe Coach Saban, he's doing him a favor. Maybe that's what this entire thing is all about. I mean, you just never.
And look, a lot of people believe that Commissioner Sankey. I'm not sure, but there's people in the business who believe that Commissioner Sankey, or how about this, the SEC office, back channels some communication to the 14 schools. You know, we'd rather not see Hugh Freeze in the league this year, just because of all the baggage and the escort scandal. And of course, Freeze didn't handle anything well for a year and a half, 2 years. Maybe Freeze can get in and see how you're actually supposed to act and operate as an SEC head coach, because he definitely didn't in Oxford. And that was the wild, wild west. He was running with too many alums, not counting who else he may have been running with, allegedly. So maybe Ryan, you're right there. You've got sources in and around the program. That is a buttoned-up, well-run, and it's not perfect. You know that.
Oh, sure, it's not.
It's not. He has some assistants that don't do everything they're supposed to do, quote unquote, when they're all outside of the football facility. But that's about as buttoned up and professional and well-oiled machine as you're going to find. And Hugh Freeze has never look. Hugh Freeze coached under Ed Ogeron, Ron, and then he danced around a little bit and came back to Ole Miss. I mean, this guy wouldn't know a buttoned-up, well-run program if it jumped in bed with him tonight.
Wow. Bo Bounds laying out the heat. But you said something I want to go back to, and I wrote it down here as a little nugget. You said we only know 1% of what really happened in Ole Miss.
Right.
I mean, you believe that? I mean, is there – how much more is out there?
Oh, Ron. We'll grab a Dr. Pepper or beer in the next year or something, in the next 6 months, 7 months. But yeah, I mean, what broke last summer, that wasn't even close to everything that was going down. I mean, I think everything was shut down and the lights were turned off, so to speak.
Well, see, but I think that's why he's untouchable right now, especially at a program like Alabama.
Not football. No. Man, these guys, Ron, I'd hate to out a percentage of assistant coaches on the road that run around and do things but I mean, it's no different than just about every industry. I mean, there is more Neanderthal and there is more meatball and there is more PE gym coach in football. And these guys have to blow off steam, so to speak, and the pressure. And I mean, they're trying to convince 17-year-olds to, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors and stuff. So, look, because of my dad having traveled to SEC since 1980, and that was back when it was a very rustic and rural league, and the fact, I got to know a lot of administrators and coaches. The deal is, it's always going to be like this. But what Freeze did is just let things get out of control. And there's so many of them. Look, I can tell you this, man. On July 20th, when that story broke, there were football and basketball coaches around the country that, when that went over their phone, when that dropped on their phone, whether it was they were on whatever, Google Chrome or Twitter, they went, oh, blank. And it was literally, if you count assistant coaches, thousands of dudes. Because it's a deep, dark, run at a fast pace, go, burn the midnight oil, got to win, pressure, man. So nothing surprises me in this business with all the stories I've been told. And, of course, the Hugh Freeze story definitely didn't surprise us because we never bought into the Freeze deal in the first place.
Let me get a local reaction because you've done a poll right there. What do Ole Miss people how do they really feel? Because I see your results of your poll, but I want to know the phone calls that you had this morning when you brought up Hugh Freeze possibility. Not that it's going to happen. It may never happen. But when you mentioned Hugh Freeze in Alabama, what was the local reaction there in Jackson, Mississippi?
Ron, I don't think Ole Miss they'll be fine until they see him with Alabama gear on.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when it'll rub them wrong. Okay? Now, it will not all, but there will be a percentage, and I would think it's 50-50 plus, that once they see him with that good-looking, all the gear that all the coaches wear, from every school is good-looking, but once he has that good-looking Alabama golf shirt on or pullover on and visor, that's when it'll hit. Hold on. That's when I think it's going to hit home for Ole Miss fans. Hold on. We have Matt Luke, and Matt may be a phenomenal coach, but right now they're thinking, even though he won the Egg Bowl and was able to pull out 6 wins, they're like, okay, this could be a little bit of a developmental deal, work in progress. And I think they'll look at him and go, hold on, that's our guy. He's our guy. He took us to a place that we had not experienced since pre-integration. That's our guy. He took us to number 3. He took us to beating Bama twice. He took us to winning the Sugar Bowl. He took us to a 4th and 26 against Arkansas of going to the SEC championship game. That's my guy. He's a Mississippi, even though he went to Southern Miss. The weirdest thing in the world, Ron, that Ole Miss fans, accepted him the way they did because he grew up a rock's throw from there, and I think because socially he didn't think he could make it there, he drove right by there and drove 5 hours down the road at 19, 20 years old and went to Southern Miss. But I think that's when it will be the jilted lover, kind of like LSU fans with Saban. It'll be the jilted lover deal will kick in when they see if he goes to Bama and they see him in Alabama gear, Ron.
Wow. Bo Bounds, I appreciate you, man. Certainly invite people to connect with you. It's straight up at Bo Bounds, Bounds, at Bo Bounds on the Twitter account, Out of Bounds in Jackson, Mississippi, ESPN 105.9. Hey, Bo, thanks again, man. I appreciate you coming on and trying to survive this snowmageddon that's sweeping the way through the South, man.
We'll do it, bud. Be good, Ron.